because I feel like it's being very surface. Because if it seems as though you're saying that there's a group of friends and I can jump in bed with whatever friend I choose. I think friends with benefits is monogamy. I don't, in my
head,
that's not friends with benefits.
In my
that's
head,
a relationship.
Yes, but I'm saying in my head, that's what that is. Because if I'm having this is my friend of benefits, like when you said, when you choose a partner, then you no longer have benefits with your friends. So that also becomes another monogamous relationship.
Okay, I respect that, but a friends with benefits relationship means I get to have other friends with benefits, and you can't be mad at that. And I also get to use.
Is that what that
means? It can mean that you can be exclusively friends with benefits.
Let me be specific. That's where this term came from.
Expressions of love.
Yo, what's up, everybody in the outside world? Welcome back to the Expression of Love podcast. It is your host, Soul Expression Indeed. I'm very happy to be sitting here with you, and I'm very happy that today I am speaking with Three Scoops podcast. Like 3 scoops of ice cream, I guess, is the metaphor there. It is co-hosted by someone named Brittany J, someone named Quayla, and a good friend of mine whom I've known since high school, who goes by the name Ava Marie. Ava and I are not like super close friends where we know like everything about each other and whatnot, but she is indeed a friend, always has been, and well, since we met in high school, and is a very sweet person. And I wanted to have them on because I actually saw a video on their Instagram. Make sure to follow them on Instagram. I believe @_3 scoops_ on Instagram, where she was asking if it's a good idea to have friends with benefits or to engage in a friends with benefits situationship, if you will. And I was like, yo, I want to talk to y'all about that on my show. I want to bring that on my show because this is the Expression of Love podcast after all. And although it is not necessarily a relationship podcast, it is necessarily a a podcast where relationships are delved into and explored heavily. So we have a wonderful conversation about relationships and this friends with benefits dynamic. I almost totally agree with one of them. I partially agree with another one, and I disagree with another one. So there's, multiple dynamics of, multiple Venn diagrams of the agreement scale in this conversation. Try to identify who is who and enjoy. I'll see you guys soon. Oh, skirt. Sorry, forgot to say, like and subscribe if you have not already had the chance, and leave comments throughout the conversation. Hello, everybody out there in the wide world, and welcome back to the Expression of Love podcast. It is your host, Soul Expression Indeed, and I am very excited because I am now talking with another podcast. Yes, indeed. It is called the Three Scoops podcast, hosted by how do I say this? Hosted by a triple flame, 3 people, basically. My friend Ava Divine, Quayla, and Brittany J. What's up, everybody? Say what's up to the peeps.
Hello.
What's up, y'all? I'm
What's
glad
up
to be here.
Awesome. So I follow y'all on Instagram, right? And there was a quick little reel where Ava came on and she said,
hey there, what are your thoughts on friends with benefits?
And I think it's a horrible idea. I think it's a very fun thing to do with very bad long-term results, and very evident long-term, and the badness of the long-term results is very evident in today's culture and in a lot of things that are happening that in my heart I just don't agree with. I just it makes me feel things. So I was wondering where you guys landed on that, and then if we could just kind of talk. There may be a little debating, but not there won't be any arguing, I promise.
We never argue.
Okay. Yeah, no. We're
Well,
good.
because like men on podcasts sometimes have just a bad rep because we can be argumentative or assertive, in a way. And some of us can be assholes. It is what it is. So
You said it, not us.
it's not like we
Well,
don't.
thank you for
and,
providing
we
a
can
safe
too.
space.
But what'd you say, Brittany?
I
What'd you
just
say,
said
Brittany?
thank you for providing a safe space. Absolutely.
Oh yeah. So where do you guys land, Koila? Where do you land on friends with benefits?
Ha ha.
Right, hot seat. I'm very neutral. I find it very fair to allow people to make their own judgment calls when it comes to relationships, because I can tell you how I feel it's going to end, but a grown person is going to do what a grown person wants to do. And if they feel that that's where their relationship wants to go and kind of explore that side of friendship, they would have to make that decision themselves. And if it ends badly, kind of whatever the results may be, they have to be able to live with those consequences. I don't know. I feel like you can't really tell people it's going to be bad, we're going to end a friendship. They just have to see it for themselves.
Well, to your last point, I definitely agree with that. You can't tell people something is guaranteed going to go south or going to go good, and good. I think my opposition is a little different than that, but I want to hear you guys before I respond. And there's something very particular that I want to respond to in regards to grown people going to do what grown people want to do.
They do.
Yeah, that's. I used to say things like that. I no longer would say something like that today. Just in general.
Okay.
I won't argue with anybody.
I can't wait to hear it.
Yes. Ava, Brittany, either one. One of y'all. Jump in. What do y'all feel?
Well,
You want to go, Brittany? You want to?
you go. I go. Okay.
Yeah.
So I actually agree with you both. When it comes to, let me explain. When it comes to other people making decisions for themselves, I am neutral. In terms of a friends with benefits situation being, for me, it is a very horrible idea. I would absolutely agree, because just of my personal standards, my personal values. I do feel like it is something that can work if you're dealing with really emotionally, spiritually, and mentally mature people. However, I feel like that is very unlikely that those situations work out, because in most cases, when people are involved in those situations, they're not fully aware of themselves. And it's evident because of how they respond to the situation. So that's where I stand on it.
Interesting. Very beautiful answer. Thank you.
Well, it's a very interesting conversation to have. From my perspective, I've never done the friends with benefits thing, but I would also never do it, because I know me and I know how I can become emotionally attached with relationships. Like even hookups aren't really a thing for me, because my whole being needs to feel like there needs to be more intimacy for me than just surface level intimacy. That's me. But I understand that's not that way for everybody. To be honest, I do feel though that if you're going to enter into something like that, both parties have to be on the same page that they are not interested in that person, never will be interested in that person in regards to, you know, catching feelings for that person. Now,
Isn't that
because, you
interesting?
know, yeah, you can sit here and be like, oh, we're just friends, da, 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 but you're really wanting to get with them because low key they're fine. And
Right.
you can see yourself, you're comfortable enough with your attraction to them that you're willing to go that length. But then that potentially can get you caught up. And if one person is out here catching feelings and the other person just like, nah, I'm not vibing with that, now that creates a level of like complication within the connection in general.
Yep.
That is going to be very tricky
Exactly.
to maneuver around for both parties.
So you leaning towards bad idea. Okay.
Bad
You don't have to
idea.
say it. You don't have to say it. Okay. So that's very interesting. And I think that that flies directly in the face of grown people going to do what they want to do, doesn't it? Because if you want to engage in something and then you suddenly want to engage in something else, then you want to do something and you're grown, but it goes against what you said you wanted the first time, and it's not at the same time that the other person did. So what to do then? It's very interesting. I just like I think a lot of my opposition to ideas like friends with benefits come from forward thinking, right? Come from just thinking, just automatically going to, okay, if everybody was doing this, what would be the long-term result?
Yeah.
You know,
How will it work out?
Yeah, like not necessarily like, oh, the data says this, and oh, there was relationship polls and studies that say that. Just a lighthearted, right, and not a super heavy-hearted. If everybody was doing this, let's say if everybody in our culture, American society, whatever, was doing this, what would be the long-term results? And I think some of those results would be people would be teaching children that sexual partners are just replaceable. And not just sexual part, but like romantic sexual partners, people that are intimate with you in your intimate space are just replaceable. Because a friend, it's just using the label friend, it's just not the same as using the labels partner, wife, husband, boyfriend, girl. It's a different feel.
Okay.
Right? There's a restriction when you intentionally use the word friend to upgrades.
Can I ask you a question?
Of course. Who are you talking?
Why shouldn't sexual partners be replaceable? Like what? Why? On an individual level, not on a collective level, because everything is not for everybody. But like,
yeah,
why shouldn't sexual partners be replaceable? Everybody is not monogamous. We have a lot of polygamous people. We have a lot of sexually promiscuous people, and they are very open and honest and enjoy their lifestyle.
Yeah, because a grand part of the human story is our collective responsibility, I guess, to moving towards a sort of harmony with each other. And a part of the hard work that goes into building that harmony involves the concept of commitment, or involves commitment in not a small deal kind of way. And commitment is not easy. It takes time, it takes practice, it takes failure, just like achievement does. Commitment is something to be proud of. It's right. There's virtually nothing bad one can say about practicing commitment. I mean, obviously attachment can go too far, but commitment is something intentional, something different.
Okay, so you're equating a sexual partner with commitment.
Equating is a kind of strong word, but I want to hear what you're thinking.
Well, I'm just trying to get clarification on, because to me, if I'm thinking of a friend, this is somebody who would actually be somebody closer to who I would choose as a partner, because as a friend, I am giving you that much access to my life as I will be giving you as a committed partner. The lines just get crossed when you intertwine. You're taking away the partner relationship, keeping the friendship, and then adding in the sexual activity.
Yeah. The
But
intimate.
the relationships themselves, separately, the partnership with the whoever you with and the relationship as a friendship, they are going to be very similar.
Well, and then you have to think too that there are probably some people who choose friends with benefits because they don't want to just screw around with just anybody, and they
Yeah.
would prefer doing it with somebody who is more on an energy level with them or somebody they feel comfortable with. So I mean, there could be a variety of reasons as to why somebody would go the route of friends with benefits. I don't think that I don't feel like every reason is not justified. I personally, like I said, me personally, nah. But
Right.
I do feel like for some people, maybe they do feel comfortable going the route like of getting with a friend versus just getting with some guy that they meet at the bar that they don't know anything about. And maybe they don't really necessarily want to mix their energy with just anybody, you know? Like, so
Well, and I kind of want to respond to something you said about creating harmony for the collective through kind of commitment. And I was just wondering, it really, when you said that, it like something came to me like, well, can't we create that harmony for the collective by holding space for everybody, by holding space for the people who are non-committal, for the people who actually can engage in relationships like friends with benefits and it not be a bad thing? Like,
okay, not bad thing, bad idea.
Okay. Bad idea.
People love actions and don't like consequences. And when we talk about things like friends with benefits, we have to be careful to not leave reality and to accidentally start thinking about it in terms of there's nobody else around, there's nobody else that wants me, there's nobody else that wants her, there's nobody else talking, there's nobody else who has different levels of closeness. Like this person may be the closest in this regard, but this other person who I also, maybe would have if they brought it up and or one of us made a move first, would have chosen to do this friends of benefits with. So there's a lot of people around everybody in free societies. Again, we just want to reiterate, we're going to keep it here in America because the world is pretty big and cultures
Right.
and language and all of that plays a part. But either way, I digress. Yeah. So yeah, there's a difference between bad idea and bad thing. But in regard to the creating what I call the collective responsibility to sort of creating, or even just let's say evolving more and more towards peaceful coexistence, a productive coexistence, because not everything has to be peace all the time either, but a productive coexistence. So can we find common ground on that? Because I don't want to move forward without seeing if we have common ground in some places.
Yeah.
Okay. You sure, Koila? You sure? You like?
I'm trying to follow. We're gonna get there. I'm following. Let's go.
Okay. And again, my opinion, my beliefs doesn't have to be everybody's.
Sure.
The core part of commitment that's important that I was talking about before that I might have not been clear on. The core of commitment is the exclusion of the other stuff. So how far does exclusion go? Well, it goes all the way to thought. Now, if people are calling what they're doing friends with benefits, but there's high level commitment, then then you're using a trendy name to describe something else. It's just that then it's not really friends with benefits. And I don't go ahead, Ava, because
Sorry, I'm just trying to clarify. Are you talking about how the term friends with benefits is being used just overall, or?
I don't think it'd be fair to bring in examples of when there's actual commitment and saying, well, these are examples of friends with benefits, because of the whole reason for the label is the low level commitment. Meaning if we're friends with benefits and you get a boyfriend or whatever, I can't say nothing. I can't, or I can say, but I don't have a right to impose on your actions in that regard. And that very much probably will happen, especially if every time we talk about it, we're like, we're gonna stay friends. This is nice. I like this. I like the freedom. I like whatever. If that's how we understand what we're doing, eventually you're probably going to fall in love with somebody else, whatever, boom, boom, boom. Or me and never tell me, right? And I'll find somebody else, and then you're not allowed to impose your will on my behavior. And then there's the very touchy part of the conversation of the difference between men and women in this. We are different.
Well, I mean, I do agree with you in terms of it being, you're right, in terms of, if you're in a friends with benefits situation, depending on the level of communication you and the so-called friend have, there may not be clarity, and somebody could go out and get a boyfriend or a girlfriend and not have to tell anybody. And that's hurtful to the other party. And that's morally wrong. I would agree with you there. However, that's why I say in most cases, it is very unsuccessful. A friendship is definitely still a relationship and requires a level of honesty, communication, and a commitment to being truthful.
Mhm.
So with that being said, it's very risky and it's not something I would recommend, but for those who choose to engage, I can understand why, because not everybody is ready for commitment. Maybe there are certain benefits you want from a connection, but that does not require commitment. And I think it's important that we understand and hold space, because everybody's at a different stage in their lives. We're all going in the same direction, but we're on different timelines. We're at different spots. And so it's important to, I think, really understand that. And,
I
honor
don't
that.
find that it's just like you are avoiding commitment though. I just don't
I
feel
agree.
like, okay, saying that, okay, well, I'm going to do friends with benefits because I'm no longer, or I'm not ready for commitment. It could be that you're just in a holding spot. Like there's
Well,
no way for you to commit to at this point, but you still
only
want to
that.
engage in something else.
Not only that, but friendship in itself is a commitment.
Mhm.
Like it is.
Absolutely.
We all agree on that. Yeah, Brittany said that earlier.
When you engage in a friendship with someone, you're committing to be there for that person to a particular degree. You're committing to do things you wouldn't normally do with a stranger or an acquaintance. You know what I mean? So already you have that type of commitment there. I think adding the benefits part is adding an additional portion to the dynamic of what type of a commitment you already have, which can make things complicated. But again, I feel like that's why it is imperative that anybody who does choose to explore that route, make sure that they have an in-depth, open conversation. Like, this is what we're doing. This is what we need to be clear on. If you start feeling a certain way, I need you to know that you can come to me and talk to me about this so we can work things out. Whatever. There needs to be a level of communication there.
Well, hold on.
I should be there anyway if you're a friend with somebody.
Hold on.
But I know that's not everybody.
You just said something that maybe you would say, but that's not very common in friends with benefits situationships.
Right.
You said you should feel open to come to me if you start catching feelings. What I have heard in my own friends with benefits situationships of my past, and in my friends and on the internet, in the interwebs, is you cannot come to me if you start catching feelings. Just start to back off and I'll get the hint. That kind of attitude, maybe not those exact words, I'm speaking like a male would speak, but that, especially from the woman's side, is more so what I've seen in my.
And see that though, that I don't think is a healthy way of handling a situation.
I agree.
I don't think that that's healthy at all. If you are going to be like, yeah, just back off and I'll get the hint. Well, now you're backing off. You're creating distance between you and this other person, which can ultimately affect your friendship overall. Like, you need to be okay with having those in-depth conversations if you're going to be a grown-ass person. Like, excuse my language. If you're going to be a grown person.
Yeah, no, we can cuss on here.
Oh, okay.
They do that. They do
Yeah,
that.
like
We
I'm
do.
sorry. If you're gonna enter into something like that, be grown up about it. Like have a be if this person is really your friend, have a serious, in-depth conversation with them and let them know that communication is healthy, communication is important, and you want to know if something is happening and they're feeling a little bit whatever. I do get that some people may be like, I don't want to know that my friend is catching feelings because that's going to make things awkward or that's going to make things weird. But then it makes things awkward anyway because obviously you just told them to back off and you'll catch the hint and you're still going to go. So at the end of the day, you might as well just be open and honest and communicate with about it. So both people can be on the same page. It won't be as awkward. It won't be as like weird and complicated. It's just, I mean, the whole thing is complicated already. But why make it more
Too much.
Yeah.
It's
That's
gonna
why
be
I say. That's why I
weird.
say no. I mean, because when you dissect friends with benefits overall, there's not much of a difference between the relationship of someone who's in a friends with benefits and someone who's in a relationship, whether that's
Right.
monogamous, polygamous, whatever. There's not much of a difference except for the confusion, the blurred line.
I have to agree. I have to agree. I think under the surface, under the fluffy words that we tend to use to describe these things in our late teens and early 20s, under that surface, there is a high level of confusion and a high level of microwave culture, instant gratification. Give me mine on my terms when I ask for it, which again flies directly into my thoughts about building commitment or building a capacity for commitment, if you will, and the importance of just character building, right? Knowing how to, or learning how to deal with pain and using your relationships as a means to learn some of these hard lessons. You're going to go through pain, you're going to go through betrayal, you're going to go through moments where there is no good outcome. You just have to pick and choose. And the way you pick and choose, you're losing and someone else is losing. That's going to happen. Right? Ooh, look at that transition. It is time for the expression of rhyme. That's right. It is time for me to interject a rap verse into this episode of my podcast and touch on one or more of the topics that my guests and I are engaging in. Now, before I spit this verse, I want you to know that the first part of this rhyme is fictional. Okay, it's an enactment of the topic at hand, and then I give a little bit of my actual opinion, still in rhyme form at the end. Like and subscribe if you have not already had the chance. Leave a comment featuring your favorite line from this segment, and I can't wait to interact with you all in the comment section. Check this verse out. So for the heck of it, let's let loose and make a mess of it. Why we gotta stay celibate to our detriment? I'm trying to take the playing field and level it and have a good time. With my friend, here's the benefits. We can kiss and be intimate to meet our needs and keep it casual and secret from the people, please. It's not exclusive, but I'll tell you if I meet a queen, and we'll just stop the benefits there and keep it clean. But before we get started, I gotta let you know, we're not a couple, so this won't go where the couples go. This is a special situation. Only us and nobody else in this whole world needs to see it show. I'm not reducing your body into an object. You got needs too, right? Keep to the context. If you meet somebody first, I won't be obsessed or needy for attention at all. I'm being honest. Emotions play a part in every situationship. We got to keep those in check with our relations. If you notice you're catching heavy feelings where you are craving this to go a little further, we can talk, and I will make a quick conclusion or solution when that time comes to pass. So don't worry about it. Just be open to the task. This way, there's no reason to say we've gone too fast because we're just friends with benefits. Now let me tap that ass. Now, I hope this fictional rhyme has burnt into your mind. the dangers of the times of perversion down the line. Because friends with benefits are also friends with detriment. If you think that's irrelevant, you greedy and you blind. Sex is not an act without its consequences. Even in the age of birth control and contraception, trauma often waits for you in places least expected. So think before the hard way is how you learn your lesson. Shout out 3 Scoops for today's conversation. It inspired the lyrics I've thrown into rotation. So pass your favorite line around like it's a blunt. Show them how we get down on the expression of love. Did I do it? I think I did it. Hey. Now back to your regularly scheduled program. Right? In Exodus, in the Bible, they were brought out of the slavery in Egypt into the desert. And a whole bunch of them died from snake bites in the desert. And they looked at the sky and looked at Moses like, yo, what are you doing? What is this? This is not freedom. And then they were punished for not having high levels of faith. Sometimes life is like that. And it's just, I think, a very beautiful parallel, because relationships, and especially relationships sexual in nature, are going to bring out the best and worst in people, and the people that you're connected to, and in yourself. And so in learning how to maybe conquer yourself, or conquer the lower, so I say lower parts of yourself, but I don't mean it in like a demeaning way. Okay, I promise. I just sometimes language,
The desire,
yeah,
temptation.
yeah, conquering, yeah, impulse and compulsiveness and impatience and all of those things. Conquering that involves practicing things like commitment, like sacrifice, like compromise, like all of these things. And I think we have cultivated in our society a way of making those things seem like slavery, or seem like a bondage, when they're not. You have to pick up weights to build strength. They're weights.
So what do you mean by slavery and bondage? What things are, can you clarify that, or kind of add context?
Yeah, because friends with benefits is obviously a child of more and more accepted hypersexuality and promiscuity. Again, not bad things. I think bad idea, not bad things. Not everybody that does this is evil, should be condemned. Not that. But I think bad idea for long term. If everybody is doing it, I don't think good outcomes. One, it leads to a lot of fatherlessness, because you pair that with a lot of the policies that are put in place, and you get a lot of benefits, specifically not to marry the father of your child, and a whole lot of other stuff. Section 8, the whole system is kind of geared in certain ways, especially if your income is under a certain level. I digress.
Gotcha.
So, I said that to keep the conversation that I'm not talking about individuals. I'm talking about if everybody's doing it, kind of thing. This friends with benefits phenomenon comes out of the acceptance of hypersexuality and promiscuity in our society. Either acceptance or blind eye, right? Not my child, but the rest of you, sure, whatever, do what you want to do. It's a free country, but just not mine, which I don't think is the right way to parent. I think we should definitely be more collective in the way that we think about things. It's my opinion. Where am I going? Y'all?
Where are you going? Because I'm trying to keep up.
I was going somewhere and I think I lost it. I felt like I had to clarify so much on the way that I dropped my luggage.
Oh.
I think from what I'm gathering, overall, your message is, how can we build commitment as a collective? I guess raise our children.
Yeah. So monogamy is not a must for every individual, but I think it is a must for what's the normalization in a society. But I don't mean it in a way that you go to jail if you're whatever. Not that.
Okay.
But I think what is being normalized is hypersexuality, promiscuity, what they call open relationships, all of these things, friends of benefits being one of them, that they feel great in action at first, and people love actions and don't like consequences. And I think the consequences are pretty dire. I mean, one can't deny that this leads to an increase in fatherless homes. You can't, because if you don't even know who the father is, first of all, and secondly, look, where's the lie? Where's the lie, Quayla?
Because I feel like it's being very surface. Because if it seems as though you're saying that there's a group of friends and I can jump in bed with whatever friend I choose. I think friends with benefits is monogamy. I don't, in my
It can
head,
be.
Not friends with benefits.
in my
That's a
head,
relationship.
yes, but I'm saying in my head, that's what that is. Because if I'm having this is my friend of benefits, like when you said, when you choose a partner,
Mm-hmm.
then you no longer have benefits with your friends. So that also becomes another monogamous
Okay,
relationship.
I respect that, but a friends with benefits relationship means I get to have other friends with benefits, and you can't be mad at that. And I also get to use.
Is that what that
It
Ye-
can
yes.
mean that you can be
No,
exclusively friends with
let me be
benefits.
specific. That's where this term came from. This term came from the practice of I can have multiple sort of. Some people call it
That's
fuck buddy,
dating.
some people call
that's
No,
just
that's not even dating.
it's
That's
more
I
prevalent.
mean,
It's
I'm
more prevalent
thinking
now
you
than
have
it was
multiple
when it
things
was.
going on.
It's more prevalent now than ever in our society.
That wasn't my viewpoint on friends with benefits. I'm choosing a friend, meaning singular, a friend, one with benefits. Every friend should not have the same benefit. That doesn't really.
But that's a personal preference, right?
that's what that
Right,
is.
that you're more
Yeah,
mature than a
I'm
lot
not
of
saying
people
a
doing it.
preference. I'm saying that was my viewpoint. I have never had a friend with benefits, so I don't know. That's
Yeah,
just how
yeah.
I saw it, as
Gotcha.
there was just a friend
Yeah,
with benefits. Well, okay. Well,
no,
if
yeah.
it's
Friends with benefits is not
everybody.
is not monogamy in terms of how it's practiced by that.
Majority.
And in terms of it being dated, it's not a very old concept. It just got here within the last few decades, and it's been growing and evolving. And again, it's practiced more now in American society than before. It's bigger now. And yeah, it's not monogamy. Monogamy is
now I can
monogamy.
see where you're going with the multiple unknown fathers.
Also,
Because I was like,
though, but
where's all these dads coming from?
I get that, but it's not like what caught me, and you can clarify, is the multiple kids raised without knowing who their fathers are. But if you're messing around with your friend, then how would we not be knowing who fathers are? I'm confused.
Some
Right,
women will know and
differentiate.
some women will not. And there's what you never seen an episode of Maury?
Okay, but
You know, you know.
like, maybe we shouldn't be calling them friends, though. Maybe they should be considered. I don't know.
Oh, wait. Is friends with benefits for you guys in terms of what you thought about it? Is friends with benefits like a peck on the cheek every now and then, and maybe holding hands in the park and then going home at 7?
No, I think our interpretation of friends is probably what's throwing
Right,
us off.
exactly.
You're my friend, a true
It's not the
friend.
benefits we're confused about.
Like, what is your term of friends?
Right, because these sound more like flings and hookups. It doesn't
Yeah,
sound like
something
a
that's fair
friend.
weather people.
Well,
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. And it's very understandable how this has come about. Yes, when people use the term, friends with benefits, they weren't talking about only close friends. They weren't. They were talking about
It sounds
basically,
like a sex buddy.
yes, that's a
Okay.
different, that's a synonymous term for the same relationship.
You know,
It's a
Oh,
synonym.
I can't lie. I find it difficult just because my mind has been expanding. On a personal level, I get where you're coming from because those things do not work for me. The promiscuity, the several sexual partners, like
Mhm.
I know that my sexual energy is sacred. And so there's something about exclusivity that turns me on. So therefore I do not but to judge other people who experience this journey, this life a little bit or a lot of bit differently
Yeah.
from that of what I do. It's hard for me to draw the line with them anywhere because I think that as a collective, we are being upgraded to acceptance. We are being upgraded to hold space for the different genres of people instead of excluding them or making them feel as if they are not worthy of existence because they have a different experience from us. And I think it's important that we shift, if we can, our mindsets to do that, to hold
Mhm.
space for those people and still hold true to our values and our boundaries.
I agree. I don't think anybody should be like dehumanized or demonized for that. And where I guess where I would draw the line is teaching my child that it's okay to do what you're doing if that's not okay in my, let's say, in my moral understanding, my morality, my sense of morality. If that's not okay, then you telling my child either by just being so loud and boisterous with your actions or by actually verbally telling my child that this is an okay thing to do and you should think about doing this when you're of age. That's where I would draw the line in terms of letting people do whatever they want. But other than that, other than children and whatnot and the
Yeah.
influence of social media, stuff like that, other than that, absolutely do what you do.
Yeah.
Do what you do.
Yeah, I mean, and I definitely wholeheartedly respect that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um,
And
the
largely, I mean,
children
my own
nowadays,
child too. Not
they're
even
vocal.
just, but yeah.
They're vocal. They tell us exactly what they want. They tell us where we went wrong. It's not in hiding anymore. And although it can be a very painful experience, you know what I'm saying? It forces us to really look at ourselves and if you know, because at some point our children will grow up to be their own individual selves.
Yeah.
And so we just have to make sure that we're actually listening and paying attention and understanding that who they really are. And that's going to be something beyond what we can teach them. They're going to take what we teach them and they're going to do whatever they want with it.
Mm-hmm.
Teach them how to use
Absolutely.
judgment and to follow their intuition.
Absolutely. That is biggest. Absolutely.
Yeah. And me personally, I think that it's also important to instill that morals come from something higher than human beings, or that moral standards at least come from something higher than
Absolutely.
human beings, and morals themselves are expressed through the human story. That's my belief that
I like that.
having something above your own, like they say, rely not on your own strength in one of those gospels. I don't read the books. I just like them. I like when people have good quotes that are practical. The rest of it,
That's cool.
but that's yeah. I think that's very important. I also really am. I enjoy learning about the 10 Commandments as well, because if they were followed, we wouldn't need a lot of things that we need. We wouldn't need police. We wouldn't need a lot if those commandments were followed. I can't rattle them all off the top.
But they're not followed because why? Why aren't they followed? Because we experience human emotions. You know, this human experience is not all love and light. There's darkness to it. And a lot of people have a hard time conceptualizing that God, just for the lack of a universal term, is the creator of both darkness and light. Therefore, it serves a purpose. I mean, when I think about life in terms of living it in a very straightforward, these are the rules kind of way, I get immediately drained and bored. Why? Because this life is meant to be experienced. Okay. I do think that life should have some structure. I do
Mhm.
believe in structure, but I also believe that there should be a space for freedom. And to say that, okay, the 10 Commandments, we wouldn't need a lot of what we need if we followed the 10 Commandments. The truth is that there's nobody that I've ever seen and known in existence that has been able to do that 100%. We have
Well,
failed
yeah,
at some
absolutely.
point. And so we need to take a bigger look at that. Is that why is that
Mhm.
so common for us to fail? What
Mhm.
purpose does jealousy, does anger, does resentment, what does that
Mm.
hold? How does it contribute to the human experience? Because we're all dealing with it,
Mm.
but
I'll
we're
tell you
trying
right
to
now.
fight it and ignore it. Whereas maybe we should be trying to figure out what purpose does it serve in our lives so that we can integrate it and transmute it into whatever the hell we choose, because we've been empowered
Right.
by
Preaching.
God, by free will, to do
Right.
exactly what it is we want to do. That is the experience.
Right. I love the way you think. And I'll tell you what the purpose is of the, let's say, the shadow side of any individual.
Right.
It provides the opportunity to be better.
Mhm.
You don't
Okay,
have
I
the
agree.
opportunity to be better if you're perfect.
Yep.
You know what? I agree with you, but I also think that when I conceptualize dark and light, I would not understand what light is without darkness. I would not understand what the
Right. Well,
darkness
that's
is
basically what I said.
like.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
it's almost as if these things serve a purpose. They're absolutely necessary.
Right.
And
Coexist.
to even appreciate and understand what the goodness of life is, what the light is. You see what I'm
Mm.
saying? So
And that brings into perspective why we live as long as we live. And here's how.
Hmm.
You live up to a point where you start to really recognize and understand on deeper and deeper and deeper levels the reality behind right and wrong. And I know that's a very cliche term, right and wrong, but there's got to be something to it. I mean, we feel something when somebody is murdered, right?
right.
We feel something when someone steals from us, or even when we steal from, let's say we steal from someone that we love because we really needed to. We feel something. There is a right and wrong that's beyond just words. I really,
It's,
really, really believe so.
it's intuition.
Yeah. Yeah. I would say it's divine. And
Absolutely.
and a part of wrong is choosing to keep, let's say, making the same choice throughout your time. So if you learned somewhere that it feels good temporarily, even though it's not necessarily good practically, to do a certain thing, and you keep choosing to do the thing that feels good temporarily over and over and over again, and you don't, let's say, make the sacrifice even once, I think there's something wrong with that. I think there's something that refusing to grow up with that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, the whole concept of
Yeah.
growing
I mean,
up, we tell people, grow up.
I don't
We're
disagree with
telling them
you.
to be better. No, yeah, I don't think I'm just speaking my piece. I talk a lot. Quayla, Ava, what's good? What's happening? How y'all doing over there?
I'm taking it in. I'm listening. Some pieces I feel resonate in society, and some I think it's just mainly personal preference.
Yeah.
Like we were saying, we have the right to, freedom to choose. And regardless if I make the decision 7 times, I know before we had said on one of our podcasts is however many times I get it wrong, I'm still going to try again. It may not be the exact same mistake or the same action. So sometimes we are hurt and we're trying to fill a void with something else.
Right.
And like you were saying about instant gratification, that might be gratifying in that moment. Longevity, it may not last, but in that moment, while it is lasting and you are happy, are we to to like not give ourselves that happiness
The
for the
grace,
moment.
give yourself grace. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So
I don't think God doesn't give you grace. I don't think, if you believe in what they call his son, I don't think he doesn't give grace either. I think you got grace from the Father, the Son, the Holy Spirit, the Mother, the universe, the creator, whatever it is, spirit, you get grace, I believe, from for mistakes and sin and all of these concepts that point to like negative behavior. You definitely get, and so yes, you should give yourself grace. You should not self-judge based on something you did 3 years ago, one time, you know.
And I
You know-
do think,
Oh,
I
no, no.
do think that personally, I see like a lot of things as teachable moments. And I do feel like, yeah, you can sit here and you can tell somebody that's not a good idea, don't do that, but sometimes people need to experience that in order to, and I know for me personally, like, especially when you go through a particular phase, like I went through my sexual exploration phase where I got myself caught up in a situation that I probably like low key knew like I shouldn't, but I was just like, let me just see. My curiosity to me, and I was just like, let me just see what happens. And then I ended up heartbroken or crying or some shit. You know what I mean? So it was one of those things though. Did I learn from it? Yes, because I gave, like we were talking about grace, I gave myself grace and I was like, okay, so I know what I don't want to do.
Right. Learn. Check.
Right. Right. But I wouldn't have known that for sure had I not allowed myself to explore. And it was the fact too that I felt comfortable enough to explore it. I would never just throw myself into an unsafe situation just because, oh well, YOLO. But it would come from a place of curiosity. And if I felt like, let's just see what happens. Didn't feel like necessary. Maybe I ignored some red flags, but maybe I didn't necessarily feel like unsafe or anything like that. Right. Go explore this, realize, yeah, this ain't cutting it. This isn't, I'm not about this.
Yeah.
But now I'm better able to grasp and understand what it is that I need, what is for me, what is not. I have taken a lot of really good, solid life lessons that I have used that has gotten me to the place that I am today based off of situations that did not work out for me before, or things that I did that I was just like, yeah, this is a no. So they're like, Brittany, you were saying, holding space to allow people the opportunity to explore and to make mistakes or to fail in order to rise themselves up. And again, Sol, to your point, if you don't choose not to do that, then yeah, that becomes an issue. If you choose to just float through life and you keep having to repeat the same things over and over and over and over again, you're not getting, that is an issue, because then you are not living in the totality of what life's purpose is, which is to live, to learn, to love, to grow, all those things. You're just like, I'm just out here doing it. You know what I mean? Like, I'm just out here doing it. In within that aspect, you could potentially be living in kind of like a low. I
think everybody is useful. Those people who continue to make the same mistakes, me, the type of person who I am, I learn from other people's mistakes. I don't have to make the same mistake over and over again because I don't have to make it even one time. Looking at that person make the same mistake over and over again lets me know it doesn't work. We need those people in the world. Are they going to learn? Those like the people who murdered. After you see that happen, you don't want to be, you know what I'm saying? I'm not saying that that's a good thing. No.
I get exactly what you're saying, and that's why I'm laughing, because
we need those people who make the same mistakes over and over again to teach the people like me never to do that.
Right. I completely agree as well that if your role is to be Hitler, then you're a great example of what never to do.
Exactly.
And does that in itself not somehow raise the consciousness of the collective? Because you got to think about, these are tragic events that happen in the world. And when they happen, there usually is like a mass of people who come in to try to balance out the scale, and something is taken from that. And that's not to say that I'm over here like, yeah, tragedy should happen all the time. but it's again, it's
It serves a purpose.
yes, it serves a purpose. It's this weird yin and yang effect where it's like something happens and there needs to be something to balance it out, to level out,
Right.
to level it out again, you know. But
Right.
there is something that can be taken away to raise the collective, to raise consciousness, all that. And if we all are on the same page with that, that's what that does. It's like the evolution of
Right.
life in general, right?
Well,
So
and
it's
why
really
we feel good when we do good is the same reason why we feel bad when we do bad, or
Yeah.
even why we feel bad when someone else does bad, because everybody's a reflection of you in some way, shape, or form. Even if they're just a reflection of something you never would associate yourself with, then they're that reflection. Most people that you actually come in contact with and that have an impact on your life are a deeper reflection than like somebody, let's say, that you learn about in school. Like people in your actual life are very much reflections, and that becomes more and more clear just through being alive for longer and longer, right? But there's a punishment and reward system in everything. There's a good feeling when we do good. There's a bad feeling when we do bad. There's a good feeling when somebody, let's say, when you get an award. There's a bad feeling when you lose a friendship. There's a punishment and reward system. There's the whole dynamic of the
Checks and
serotonin
balances.
and dopamine versus the cortisol. You know, your hormonal. There's an internal punishment and reward system. And so if there's any truth at all to the concept of as above, so below, as within, so without, then yeah, I would say there's a good case to be made for something that your soul, for another journey that your soul will start after what we call death. And it will probably be more of an ultimate, because death is an ultimate, right? That no matter what you do in your life, you're in it for real, because life is going to kill you. There's no escaping it. Nobody escaped it. Even Jesus died. He had to die to come back. Nobody escaped it. And so, right, they say like God himself died when he came down in the flesh. There's no escaping death. You're in it for real, no matter what. And so, yeah, when it comes to building your character, learning from your mistakes, trying your best, even when it emotionally you just don't got the bandwidth, but you try anyway, that says something very good about who you are and the example you're leaving for the future generations and or your children or grandchildren or whatever. You know,
Right.
one of the most powerful sayings, and I'll shut the hell up. One of the most powerful sayings that I've ever heard is, you don't inherit land from your father, you borrow it from your grandchildren. You don't inherit land from your father, you borrow it from your grandchildren. And it's one of the most powerful things for me, because it's like, okay, yeah, there were traumas that I picked up in my DNA from my lineage. Yes, there were systems put in place by whoever put them in place, the governments, whatever, right? There were systems put in place that are bad, and there are disadvantages that absolutely everybody, including myself, experience that are completely unique to them as an individual or to them as a group. Yet, what am I doing here if not making it better for someone else down the line? That's what that statement means to me. If I'm not doing anything, if I'm not making it better for someone else down the line.
When you say someone else, specifically like your DNA, where your DNA extends
Well,
to,
you may
your
not have
children.
children. You may not pass on. You may not have a legacy.
Well, that's true.
A lot of people can't even have children.
That's so true. You're right
You know what
about
I'm
that.
saying? But you have children. You have children around you. You have children connected to you. You can't live and not have children connected to you.
So we've moved on from friends with benefits.
Oh
Now
yeah,
we're-
we in the space now. We in outer space. Look here.
Part two.
I've thought about that a couple times, but I'm like, I feel like it'd be petty if I tie this all the way back to there. But if you want to make a point, because where we are now, I feel like definitely leans towards, I would say, what me and Brittany kind of we're talking about on this side of the fence. Ava's still kind of straddling the fence. You on the other side of the
I'm
fence.
straddling for wait, hold
Come
on.
on over. It's water.
I always say devil's advocate. I'm just,
She
I-
loves that position. Okay, she should be
That is-
partner at the
that's
University of
me.
Hell or something.
No. No.
I'm joking.
But I just think
I love it though.
We
because
need
it
you.
adds spice.
No.
at the end of the day, everybody is gonna have their opinion
Yeah.
about it. I think that this just opens the floor of communication to be able to give your own view on the situation. Maybe there is something enlightening that somebody can take from it. That they're like, oh, I didn't really think about that before.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, and they can apply it to themselves. Because I mean, like I said, at the end of the day, it's everybody's view and opinion. I am neutral when it comes to people's choice for it. However,
Right.
if someone were to ask me, do you think that friends with benefits would be a good idea? Should I do this? I'd be like,
I'm gonna say try it.
Oh.
Look, if you
Oh.
already come to me asking me, that means that you're looking for either a yes or no answer. You already really got
Really?
your mind made up. If
I
you
have
come
never
to
asked somebody, should I do something, having already made the decision. If I've made the decision, I'm going to do it. And I feel like women are even
Exactly.
better at
You're
that
wanting
than men.
validation when you're asking somebody because you've kind of already thought about it already. Because if you said no,
Okay.
you would have already said no to the person. It
Oh,
wouldn't
that
even-
makes a lot of
Okay,
sense.
that doesn't compute for me, but I'm sure that happens. To
So you
some people.
ask people for their opinion on things, waiting to see what they're going to say before you make your decision.
I
Like
wouldn't
their
ask
opinion
them.
weighs
I
heavily.
I've done that before.
would not ask them if I made my decision. It would not. I would not have to question anything that I've
agree.
already made a decision on.
Okay, so people who look for validation, that's why they're asking questions.
Hmm. Well, that's an insecurity then. That's something that you should probably fix within yourself before looking to have sex with somebody that you don't want to commit to. My
This is reality life.
do that.
Everybody's not
Ava, you got cut
free
off a
of
little bit.
trauma.
No, I was just I
I hear
was
you. Uh-huh.
saying not everybody's gonna do that. Like not everybody's
Right.
gonna realize or recognize right away anyway. That's something that is happening that they need to focus their
Right.
attention on.
But
You know,
my attitude is never going to be we as let's say their fellow human beings cannot do anything about that. Yes, we can't make problems or commonalities or tendencies in the human story go away completely. But am I my brother's keeper? Absolutely. And so there's a balance. I think a lot of what we talked about today falls on the foundation of balancing between I don't know what to do and I kind of know what's right, or let's say the difference between right and wrong, and balancing, walking on that balance beam. Yeah, because you can't convert people to your beliefs. You can't make
Mhm.
people do what you think is best, and you can't assume that you have all the answers either, no matter how wise you are.
Right?
But at the same time, am I my brother's keeper? Absolutely. And so, I don't know,
I'm going to tell you the wrong thing to do so that you can make the decision yourself.
oh, that's blood on your hands.
No, it's not because
Yeah,
I
it
need to be able- look.
If I'm contemplating suicide, you gonna tell me go ahead, pull the trigger?
No, that's something completely different. This is a life experience that you can 100%.
Not a death experience.
Huh?
I said not a death experience.
Exactly. Yeah. No, I'm not gonna. I wouldn't even be a good person if I'm letting you know. Yeah, just go ahead and do it. Like,
Try it. Just try it. Let me know how it goes.
uh,
but don't do it till I get a life insurance policy out on you.
Right.
No.
Right. Hold up. Let me
No,
think about
no, absolutely not. But I'm saying in me as a person, I give people advice all the time. And I'm
Mm.
telling them based on my perspective. And even when I'm telling them that it's what I would do, they're still going to do what they want to do.
it. Well, yeah,
So
I
in
know
my
that.
mind, I'm going to tell you, do whatever that you want to do, but do this. And they're going to do whatever they want to do anyway. So regardless of what I want to
Yeah,
say,
that's kinda
or the
clever.
advice that I want to give, your mind is made up.
Okay. I don't feel like the logic is logicking right now, but you have every right to do what you want to do, as you would tell anybody else. Absolutely. What do y'all think? Let me see. Let's put this in, and you first, Quayla, because you're my favorite. What do y'all think
not.
is? Yes, you are. Don't do that. What do y'all think? I want to hear everybody's answer. I just want you to go first because what you just said
Okay.
is and it's all guesswork. We don't know. Okay.
Okay.
So it's okay that you don't know for sure. What do you think is the percentage of successful long-term friends with benefits that end well? Let's put a percentage. I'll go first. I'll say probably less than 5%. What about you?
See, this is the thing, and I hate to be this person, but you're comparing friends with benefits, but there's not even a good percentage rate for marriage. So
That doesn't answer the question.
it doesn't, but I'm saying like it's probably
Are
the
you
same.
interested in answering the question?
Okay, I'm gonna say it's gonna be the same success rate as marriage.
The same. Okay, so that doesn't give a number. Are you going to give a
Okay,
number?
so let me do a quick Google and see what the success rate for marriage
Okay.
is. It's gonna be that number.
Okay, that's fair. Brittany? While because she's getting her answer.
I would say, oh, I'm thinking. Probably less than 1%.
Word. Ava?
50%.
Y'all
What you think?
got it pretty low, but I'm gonna go ahead just off of what I know of friends who have gone the route of friends with benefit. I'm gonna give it like a 10%. And the reason like I give it a 10% is because there literally are some individuals who just straight up want to keep it casual and do not care to be in partnerships with anybody and are down to just mingle with their friends. And it works because neither one of them care to get emotionally invested with anybody.
Okay, that's your okay.
Okay.
Wait,
Still low. Still
So
very,
mine is
very low.
50. So that's the
Damn.
success rate for divorce, for marriages. So it's 50%. I feel like half will work and half will not.
Wow. Okay.
Okay, cool.
Okay.
Look,
That's interesting.
hey, that's the
I want to know, Quayla, do you feel, I hope you don't feel attacked by anything that I said or my playfulness.
Absolutely not.
Okay, because it's not definitely not my intention.
No,
I find a lot of things funny and interesting, and I laugh loudly and all of that, but I don't mean
I
to.
do too.
Okay, good. Good.
No,
Man, did y'all enjoy the deep dive into friends with benefits and like the afterlife and whatever else the hell we talked about today?
yeah, we had two different things going on there, didn't we?
Right. I mean, it was connected. It smoothly went into outer space, and then we just kind of dropped back to this
Came
little
back
blue
down to
planet,
earth.
you know. But did y'all enjoy your time?
Yeah, I liked
I
it.
did.
Something different.
Wonderful.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, y'all gotta bring me on next time, huh?
Yes.
Bring me on sometime.
What you want to talk about?
Right.
I can be pretty serious sometimes. I don't know.
But we
What-
got to make something really light so that you don't have the option to be serious.
Hey, well, you see how I talk, how deeply I think about things. I don't think there's anything that I can talk about that doesn't get serious. Because
Okay.
I can talk about comedians and get very serious because I'll immediately start talking about cancel culture. Anyway,
I mean, but that's a thing though.
right. But it's
That's
just, it's heavy because it has very bad implications for the future of the nation and what we're teaching our children when this is how you deal with opposing viewpoints. You make sure they can't feed their children and keep a home over their wife's head.
Do you feel that you have an opposing viewpoint?
Fuck cancel culture is my opinion, because we already, like, for people that do heinous things, like R. Kelly should have been canceled because he was actually doing things and he got convicted and locked up. Now, whether his sentencing and all of that was okay, that has nothing to do with cancel culture. But cancel culture, and I think it all boils down to the microwave, instant gratification, all of the social justice warrior stuff boils down to my way, on my terms, on my time. All of it.
We're
It's
gonna find you a
hasty,
topic.
it's immature.
I mean, that's an interesting.
That's a good topic because I have a different point of view on that. A little bit.
Well, what I
We'll
mean,
write
you
it
know, we
down.
here now. What's
No. Oh, y'all want to record it now? We doing
no, I
part
just
one?
say just
What?
whatever, you know, whatever.
Wait for it. Just wait for it.
I just want to hear what you know. I just want to. I won't
Amazing.
rebut it. I won't do a rebuttal.
I will say this. I do understand where you're coming from, in terms of like maybe the collective not giving grace, but I feel like cancel culture should be a thing for the R. Kellys and the people who use their celebrity status and fame and money to victimize other people. Yeah. So yeah, that's where I stand.
I
on it.
promised I wouldn't do a rebuttal. All right.
All right.
Well, look, we'll bring you on. We'll bring you on as the serious scoop.
Okay.
I have my vegan ice cream on the side, you know.
Look, yeah.
That's serious. That is serious.
Yeah.
A scoop of vegan ice cream.
Right.
It's good. It's good. It works best in smoothies, though. I will say it's not the same as dairy. I grew up with dairy and meat and regular cheese and all of that.
Yeah.
But it's well, and some of them are really good, depending like the flavors. But like vanilla, just straight up vanilla, is I think probably better on the dairy side, taste wise, texture wise, whatever. Better for you, obviously, it's the one that I eat. But I digress. I really love that y'all came on. Really quick, not super duper quick. You can take your time with your answer, but I want to know, what is love from your perspective at this current stage in your life? It would not be the Expression of Love podcast if I didn't ask you, what is love to you? Let's go Brittany, Quayla, Ava, because that's the way y'all are situated on my screen.
Okay. Well, my answer is pretty long. Love is understanding, compassion, appreciation, sacrifice. Hold on. And well, that falls under compassion. So I would say understanding, compassion, appreciation, sacrifice, and a commitment.
Oh, yeah.
Where you were going.
Love to me is home. It's where I feel protected. It's where my basic needs are met. It provides me shelter. It is everything that a home is to me as a physical person. That is what love is. That's what it gives me.
Okay.
Well, love to me is the most natural thing you can experience. Like it's the most natural, like, I guess, expression in a sense, but it's also the greatest gift that you can give in this life. That's love to me. You were born into this world with love. I like to think from a higher creative space, and you have so much of it within yourself to give, and there's so much to receive, and it's like, I don't know, it's a gift. Love is a gift. That's what I would say. A beautiful gift.
It is a
Wonderful.
gift.
Wonderful. Thank you guys so much for y'all answers. This was great. I had a lot of fun. Love
Thank you
to
for
me at
having
this
us.
stage. Absolutely. Yeah, I'd love to have you back. Love to me at this stage in my life, I'm saying is the meeting place between joy and what I call true understanding. When I say joy, I don't mean joy as a temporary feeling. I mean joy as a choice. And true understanding is unspoken or wordless understanding, where there's understanding beyond what you just can put into words because you understand the fullness of it. Anything that you understand the fullness of, you can't put within words. And so the meeting place of joy and true understanding is what I understand as love. And I definitely think it's one with source as well, to Ava's answer. Yeah, man.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Big hugs, y'all. Thank you for coming through. And
For sure.
have a wonderful whatever you're gonna do.
Expressions of love.